Yo, what's poppin', guys? Sizzle here, and today we're taking a look at the Chroma one, or just Chroma case, whatever you want to call it. Yeah. First off, we have the XM1014 Quicksilver, and this is like 90% stock with like a somewhat okay design, just right here specifically, and not anywhere else. This is just stock. Like I would not just use stock. It almost honestly stock probably looks better in my opinion. There's no reason to ever use this thing. And next up, we have the Scar 20 Grotto, one of the most used Scar skins from what I've seen. And I don't know why, because it doesn't really look great. It's like it's yet again, just a super stretched texture. And the base texture is just some blue something. I don't even know what to describe this as. Like maybe like, I don't know, like a dark storm or something. I don't know what this is supposed to be. I really don't. There's like a resemblance of maybe a dragon head that's being covered up by most of the stock parts of this weapon because it's like still 90% stock. I don't know what this is supposed to be. I think there's supposed to be something going along the thing right here, but it's pretty much impossible to tell. So for that reason, I'm honestly gonna have to put this in F tier as well. Like this at best would be a low D, but I think it's just an F tier. It really just doesn't look good. I would yet again just stick to stock. It looks so much more clean than this. Then we have the M249 System Lock, which is a bit nicer. It's still like half stock, but the thing is with the colors of the weapon skin being red and like a grayish, it almost fits a little. Not fully, obviously, but it's good enough, you know? Because most of the time you're looking at like this, and with this, realistically, you can't tell it's stock most of the time. I mean, this is a pretty high factory new one, but it looks somewhat clean. This is a really nice color of red, other than the mag, which is kind of a bad color, but it's supposed to offset the rest. And I guess it's actually heavily affected by lighting, or just looks bad on the side, I guess. Most of the time you're looking at this, so you're actually seeing a much better colored red. And it's basically just like a reddish, like red and gray MT49, which is it's solid. I'd say you can't really go too wrong with this even though it still is half stock, it actually works kind of with this weapon skin, so I can't really put that much lower. So it's just a solid C tier for me. Then we have the MP9 Deadly Poison, and yeah, it's gray, just pretty much like it's like a nicer color of gray than stock. I'll give it that. And then it has a few green designs on it, right? They're all different. We have like this little creature right here that you'll almost never see because it's on the handle where you're covering it. You have these green stripes that really don't add anything to this weapon. You have MP9 in green, which that's a decent detail, and then the front handle is like a virus outbreak, which I guess is where the deadly poison comes from. But basically, this is mostly just a gray weapon with like a few. Most of what you're gonna see is this top part with where it's mostly gray with like a few green stripes, and that doesn't look too bad. I'm not gonna say it looks too great either. I'd say realistically you can't go too wrong with using this, but I personally don't really like it that much. I'm just gonna put it high D tier, cause yeah, that's what I have to explain. Then we have the Glock 18 Catacombs or Catacombs, whatever you want to say. It's just like a silverish top with a bunch of skulls on it, like the Catacombs. That's just what the Catacombs were. It's like a massive amount of like bodies that they put underneath the city in some tunnels. That's really what this is, just a massive amount of skulls on the top. It's got some okay shine to it, I guess. It's nothing crazy. It definitely isn't bad though. Can't really give it too bad of a rating. So this is just kind of a low C tier for me. It's a kind of mediocre design, right? Skulls are never really that bad to look at, and this one isn't particularly bad to look at either. It's just not really good. I would never really say this is like a good skin, but this definitely isn't one you could go too wrong with using. Then we have the Off Serenity, and it's interesting. It is unfortunately still half stock, but honestly, in game you never see the back here, which I know is kind of hard to imagine. Yeah, you'll be seeing basically most of it. You'll be seeing right back here. You'll be seeing this like angel girl, but instead of wings on the back, they're her eyelashes for some reason. It's kind of a weird design. And then out of the top of her, it's like DNA coming out. I don't know what this is really supposed to be, but yeah, it's something, I guess. It's definitely unique. I don't know how you would think of something like this. And the background just like a bunch of feathers above either an ocean or a sky. I can't really tell. And then the front of the weapon is yet again that ocean or sky with feathers coming down. I don't know why they didn't texture this whole weapon that color blue. I think that would have looked a lot cleaner, but maybe it wouldn't. I don't know. I mean, I've never tried it. I'm not a weapon creator myself. But yeah, it's got a confusing design in the back at best, and it's got an okay color scheme. So I'd say it can't really hurt to put this in C tier as well. It's definitely more inspired than the Catacombs, but I think it looks a little bit worse than the kind of cleanness of the system lock. Then we have the Dual Brita's Urban Shock, which, yeah, it's got like the Urban Hazard grayish camo that doesn't look too bad, and it's got a very, very nice like light blue fade on the top, and just a nice light blue coloring on the rest of the weapon. It's basically light blue. It's a light blue Urban Hazard, which definitely doesn't look bad. I really can't give it too much shit. It just looks solid. It doesn't look amazing. Yet again, I think the system lock looks cleaner. Not to the point of being B tier, but yeah, it's just a clean skin. Definitely can't get wrong using this. I can see why some people might rate it a bit higher, because it does have a really nice color blue. I'll give it that. Then we have the Mac 10 Malachite. Yeah, I think that's just how you'd say that, which is very interesting. It's like some kind of greenish stone, not an emerald though. Just a greenish stone with a lot of, I don't even know what that would be, like waves in it. Yeah, it's an interesting design. I can't say it looks particularly great, but I cannot yet again say that it looks too bad. It's just like a greenish brick with some waves going across it, and I can't say the waves. I can't tell if I like the waves or not. I think it looks better than just having, like, you know, the back here almost looks off, and I think it would look bad on most of the weapon just to be a green brick. So I guess it's an improvement, but I really don't know if the skin needed to be added to the game. It doesn't look crazy. Doesn't really look too horrible either, but I'll just put it right above the Catacombs, having a slightly nicer color scheme, but yet again still being super uninspired. Definitely a lower C tier skin. Then we have the Desert Eagle Naga, which is yet again, it's like the 5th Deagle that's pretty much just stock with like 2 tweaks to it. We have one M1 right there, and I guess there's some kind of like skull serpent thing across the middle, but it's really hard to spot, and otherwise this pretty much just looks like stock. I can't recommend using this. Just stick to stock. It genuinely just looks worse than stock, so it's probably the worst thing we've had so far. I just think it is worse than stock, so it's the lowest F tier for sure in this case. Then we have the P250 Murtos. Yeah, it's just it's a relatively solid red P250, if that's what you want. And it's got a kind of cool design to it, right? I don't know why there's a Zipic sticker there, but on the bottom it's got some kind of design there. It looks alright. But on the top it's got this cool ass like skull with like a almost like spiral multiple circles around it. Not particularly sure why they cut it off like they do here, but it almost kind of works, because then you have like a mashup of multiple designs across the whole weapon. Which ends up actually working pretty well. I actually really like the look of this thing. It's probably one of the better looking red skins out there. And unlike a lot of skins where the designs feel so super random that they're like almost off-putting, I think the random designs on this just kind of go together super well and just end up looking hella dope. I mean, especially having the skull placement right there is just a really good idea in my opinion. So for me, this is definitely a high B, possibly low A tier. Gonna have to kind of look at the rest of the skin first. Not skin, rest of the skins in this case. Then we have the M4A4 Dragon King, and yeah, it's like a ancient dragon in either Japanese or Chinese folklore. I'm not sure which one it would be. Like kind of coming down on the skin. The rest of the skin looks absolutely fucking horrible. Like the back here looks horrible. The front here looks bad, and the background behind the dragon looks absolutely like disgustingly bad. And this is almost a fact new one, so having all this scratching is also pretty bad. So the dragon looks alright, the rest of the skin doesn't, and for me that definitely just brings this all the way down. So low C tier, and I'm actually going to move the Catacombs down to D tier, because I'm just realizing how kind of uninspired and just kind of bland they are. Anyway, next up we have the AK47 Cartel. It's kind of like the Deagle Naga, except on the AK. Unlike the Naga, though, it's at least a little bit nicer looking. The designs do stick out a lot more than they did on the Naga, especially having the skull right there is cool, skull right here with like the eyes kind of on the bolts or whatever. It's definitely more well thought out than the Naga, and it's a lot more noticeable, but yet again, it's only vaguely better than stock, and that's can still be hard to notice. So for me, it's still definitely a D tier skin. It's not different enough from stock to justify getting it. Then we have the Omp Manowar, and yeah, there's not a lot to say about this one. It's got some like goldish waves on it and a blue background. That's really it. It's not a particularly great color blue. The gold definitely looks nice, but it's only on some parts of the skin. The rest of the skin is all stock, like the barrel and the scope. And the design itself is mid at best. Definitely not a horrible skin, but it's really nothing crazy. I'd probably put it right below the sawed off. I think that's honestly where it belongs. It's not really that great. Then we have the Galil Chatterbox, which is cool. It's got, it's kind of it just has like a what should we call it, I guess Fallout kind of vibe to it, right? If you thought like Borderlands or something, this is the type of stuff I think of when I think of Borderlands. And it looks kind of cool. It looks nice even in bad conditions, which is always a plus. But it's not particularly crazy. I think it's still honestly a C tier. Yeah, I mean that's really it for this collection. I hope you guys enjoyed looking at these skins as much as I did, and I'll see you in the next one.